Okay, I've been putting this video off for a couple of days because I'm just not well. I'm feeling a bit better today, but my voice is still a bit grimy, so if I sound a bit weird, that'll be why. But what we're going to do is do a little run through of Ubuntu 20.04, the latest daily build, and we're going to set it up for how I would sort of have my daily driver. So it's going to be a trial run basically, because come April final release, this is going to be the daily driver. So what we're going to do is open the installer. Sorry, and then we're going to go continue, English UK, test the keyboard out, yep, continue. Right, usually for my daily driver I would do a minimal install, but because I haven't shown this one on the channel yet, we're going to go for the full install. As I say, it's going to be a trial run, so come sort of final release I will sort of set it up again using the minimal install, but everything else will be the same, the way I'd set up my disks, etc. So normal installation and install third-party software, click continue. I've taken a couple of disks out as well to make this a bit easier. What's mounted? SDA. 1 second. Let's see what SDA is. SDA and SDB are mounted. Let me just have a look at that. External. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, we'll unmount them, and then we'll set them as their mount, sort of their mount partitions anyway. So it's going to scan the disks. Right, I've already done a run through just of myself. You might have seen an image that I shared, so I know everything sort of works okay-ish. So what we're going to do is go to something else, go to continue. Okay, so what we're going to do is this disk here is NTFS because it's an external. So where's NTFS? There it is. And that goes to MNT external. Like so. Okay, and then this SSD here is XT4, which has a few of my Steam games on it, so it's got a Steam library on it, and it just saves me time re-downloading games all the time, and obviously I can take this with me, so I only have to have one disk with all my games on, so it will work across all the distributions. So that will be MNT SSD. So we're going to click OK there. Right, what we're going to do is we're going to go for this one here, and then we're going to format this partition and then use it, xt4 format, and that's going to be root, like so. And then what we're going to do is have this EFI for our boot partition, and then we'll just change that to Samsung 860 Evo, like that. And then we're going to scroll up to this one here, and this is going to be our home. Is that the right one? Let me just double check. I do believe it is. So we're going to use that, and we're going to format it, and we're going to do mount it at home. I'm not going to bother making a partition for this video. When the final release, a swap partition for this video, when the final release comes, I will be making a large enough swap to enable hibernation. By not creating a swap on Ubuntu, it'll give you a 2 gig swap file, so that'll be okay until sort of April time. So let's just double check that that's what we've got. So we have EFI, XT4 at root, we have XT4 at home, and then we have an MNT and an MNT there, which is all good. So let's click install now, and then let's click continue, continue, and then we'll set our user accounts. Log in automatically. We're going to make note of the time, so it's 8:42. I want to see how quickly this takes. Right, we're going to pause the video here, and then we'll come back to it once it's done. Okay, that's all done, and we noted the time. It was about 8:42, isn't it? So now it's 8:46. So that's a very quick installation time. It's like 5 minutes, give or take, and that's really cool. So what we're going to do is restart now. I'm going to show you this part because there's a little moment when you might be wondering why it's just not restarting, and I'll tell you why. So it will be stuck on here for ages. The reason why is usually you would get a sort of remove USB and press enter, but for some strange reason it's not going to show you that. It didn't show it on my laptop either. Maybe I'm just unlucky and the hardware I was using was just having a bit of a meltdown. But if you remove the USB, yeah, and then just press enter, it will reboot. Okay, we are all installed and good to go. So what we're going to do is we're going to skip all of this for the moment, because what I'm going to do with the live accounts is add Evolution and Evolution EWS, and then with online accounts, because I use Office 365 at work with sort of calendar, tasks, reminders, I use Evolution to get desktop notifications and things like that working correctly. So we're going to go to done. First things first, we're going to update because the latest version of GNOME 3.36 has landed, but it's not there by default when you first start up. So if you just open up a terminal, or you can do it with their sort of GUI that will pop up in a moment, but we're just going to update it through the terminal. There you go. As I said, it will pop up there, but we're going to do it in the terminal. Okay, so while it's doing that, we're going to check that it's mounted our discs properly, and we're just going to quickly sort of change our wallpaper and stuff while we've got nothing to do. So if we go into computer, MNT, as you can see, there's those two discs that we mounted at the beginning in the installer. So we're going to go to external now, and we're going to go to downloads, and we're going to grab these two. But first of all, let's make some folders. So these are just icons and themes that I use. If you've watched these videos before, you'll know exactly what ones they are. So we're just going to grab that, extract that to themes in the folder we just created. As I say, this is going to be like my trial run for the sort of daily driver, and then once April's here, I'll be doing this all again with the minimal install. So we're going to open this one now and then extract that to the icons folder that we just created. Icons, extract, and then what we're also going to do is go back into MNT external, and we want to grab this this wallpaper here, which was made by @medominfo on Twitter. So we're going to go into pictures, copy that over, and then we're going to go into change background, and we're going to add picture, and we're going to add that. It's a lovely wallpaper, this one. Click apply. Don't need to click apply. Perfect. That's that. So before we restart, I'm also going to jump into the keyboard and then just set some keyboard shortcuts. Nice and simple. Control up for that one. Control down for that. That's for my workspaces. And then to move it one workspace up or down, Control Alt down, Control Alt up. Now we're going to do a reboot. Okay, and here we are. So what we're now going to do is have a little run through of just sort of the new things that come with GNOME 3.36 and sort of what comes new with Ubuntu 20.04, and then we're going to set it up for how I have my sort of daily driver set up. So let's go into About, and as you can see, we are now using GNOME version 3.360, and then that brings with it a lot of sort of performance enhancements and just sort of some nice aesthetic changes. So you now have a little do not disturb toggle here, your calendar there, and then sort of notifications will pop up here. You can jump into the settings there, and sort of, so remember you had the dock category here, that's now in appearance, and you can change the size of your dock here, and you can also change the sort of dark or light theming in here instead of having to use tweaks if you don't want to download tweaks. We will download tweaks though. So let's just have a look at light. So here's light, and then there's dark. And it's very quick, no sort of lagging behind there. Let's go back to standard. Very nice indeed. Now what we're going to do is have a look at what applications it comes installed with. Oh, it's not showing us just yet. Let's go to frequent and go back to all. Oh dear. Let's do that again. There we go. So additional drivers, Solitaire, Calendar, Cheese, Extensions. So let's open up extensions. So this comes with Ubuntu 20.04 GNOME 3.36, so you can manage your extensions here. So for example, the built-in ones, desktop icons, clicking that will make them disappear. As this is the daily build though, and it's not quite ready for final release, not everything will work, so clicking that setting won't work, and your manually installed ones also don't appear just yet. As I said, I've already tested this out, so I know that for a fact, but we'll have a look anyway. So let's click close and then go back to applications. So we still use Nautilus for our files manager, Firefox is still your default web browser, you have the full LibreOffice suite, Mahjong, Minds, Remina Remote Desktop, Rhythmbox for audio player, Shotwell, Snap Store and Software Store. So this might be a bit confusing, and I'm going to assume that at some point they're going to drop one of these. I'm going to imagine software as, this is the newer edition, so I'll show you what I mean. But they're essentially the same thing at the moment. So let's open both. As you can see, the Software Store opened a lot quicker than the Snap Store. Okay, Snap Store is now ready. So what I mean by this is, if I was to go and search for, say, VLC, as you can see, the first result here, VLC, is probably going to be the Snap version. There you go, in source, snapcraft.io. And then you have the one from the native repos. There you go, Ubuntu 20.04. So I thought that this one would just be just the snaps, but again, it's basically the same thing. So again, let's go for VLC. And as you can see, VLC there again from the Snap Store. Although it says it differently, so that says Snap Store and it doesn't say snapcraft.io. And then if you go back down here, it then says the native repo again. So I'm going to assume, although I shouldn't always assume, they're going to drop the software store and just use the Snap Store. But I could be wrong there, but let's keep going. So we got to Snap Store and software update, and then you have Sudoku, Gedit, Thunderbird Mail. We will be taking that away and replacing it with Evolution. GNOME to do, transmission for your torrents. And then in utilities, you've got Deja for backups. Calculator's no longer a snap, by the way, if that bothers you. There you go, super quick. That's just a deb package. Let's go back. GNOME disks, and yeah. And then Totem is your, I think this is Totem. Let's just go into, let's click help. There you go, videos is Totem. So Totem is your media player, but we will install VLC. So that's kind of what it comes installed with. Now what we're going to do is, because as I said, I usually would go for a minimal install, but we didn't. So what we're going to do now is go into the folders, the partitions that we mounted, external, and I've wrote a little script here just to sort of remove a lot of the stuff I don't want and then install some of the stuff that I do. So what we're going to do is open in terminal and just go to, and what that's going to do now is just run through a series of sort of commands that are going to remove packages, install packages, and then just clean it up a little bit. So let's hit enter, type in our password, and then we're going to let that do that. So you might see things start disappearing here and there. Oh, don't close that. So what I'm removing there is I'm removing Snap and a lot of stuff. I don't personally use Snap, nothing against it. I'd rather use a native package, and for what I don't use in a native package, an app image is just fine. So I will use Kdenlive as an app image, which I've already downloaded here somewhere. Where are we? I would have thought it would have been in downloads. Oh no, I have my own app image folder here. So here we have Kdenlive. So what we're going to do is copy that into home, make a new folder called applications, hit enter, copy that into there. And then I've already created a .desktop file for it. I think it's an old .desktop file though, so we might have to change the version number. So let's go back into MNT. External, and then we're going to go into documents, and here is my .desktop file. So we're going to go to .local, share, applications, click paste. And then what we're going to do is go to open with text editor. Don't copy me, by the way, I'm super lazy. You shouldn't really do your icon theme like that, because if you was going to change your icons, it would still inherit the old icons that you have it set to there. I'm just really lazy, and because I never change my icon theme once I've set it to Arc, that's fine for me. So as you can see, this is 19.12.1 2, but we've got 0.3, so we're going to change that to 0.3, and then that should be fine. So if we click save now, that should now appear. There we go. So there's our Kdenlive app image that we're going to add to favorites. So it looks a bit out of place at the moment because we're using the Yaru icon theming. So what we're now going to do is Tweaks should now be installed, because it was in my list of applications to install in that little script we made. So now what we're going to do is go into Appearance, change our icons to Arc icons, and then there you go, everything matches up the way it should do. And we're going to change our application theme to Arc Darkest. I'm not going to change the shell theme just yet, and anyway we can't because we need to add some extensions. There's a couple of issues with extensions at the moment because it's a newer version of GNOME and not all of the extensions are sort of updated to use it. I'll show you what I mean in just a moment. But before we get to that, what we're going to do is install Steam as well. Lutris, by the way, won't launch just yet in this version. I've tried it on a couple of different devices. It might just be my bad luck, so we're not going to bother installing Lutris just yet. So we're going to let that install Steam. And then what we're going to do is I also installed dconf editor and GIMP and a few other things. So basically dash to dock doesn't work yet, but fortunately Ubuntu dock is basically dash to dock. So if you type in dock here, we can sort of edit the dock to how I like it. So I like it to be a dock and at the bottom. So what we're going to do is make this a bit bigger so we can see what's going on. And we are going to scroll to extend height or length or whatever it says. So let's keep going till we find it. Dock Mac, we won't change the max icon in here, we'll do that in settings. So extend height, we're going to untab that. See, there you go, so it's now more of a dock. And we are going to pop it at the bottom, dock position, and we're going to go to bottom, click apply, and then we're going to go into the settings now. We're going to close that, and then we're going to make it a lot smaller, about 28, try 26, 26. Okay, so that is all set up like that. What we're now going to do is we also installed Evolution and Evolution EWS, so we're going to go into online accounts, and then I'm going to add my work stuff. So at work I use Office 365 and I use that for tasks, reminders and everything else. Microsoft Evolution EWS and Evolution coupled with GNOME online accounts is the nicest way to get that all to work. So now I'll blur this out, but I'm going to add my email address. Click connect, and what this allows me to do is sort of everything that I would, all of my reminders for work, meetings, calendar appointments, everything will now all go through Evolution, and I'll get some nice desktop notifications for that as well. So what we're going to do now is open up a terminal, open up HTOP and see what RAM we're using. As I said, we didn't create a swap partition, but what Ubuntu does by default is if you don't create a swap partition, it will make your swap file of about 2 gig. That won't really be that helpful for us because we've got, as I say, 32 gig RAM. When the final release comes, I will be starting over, and then we're going to make a sort of a 60-ish gig swap partition to enable us to have Hibernate. As you can see now, we have now got some notifications popping through, and it's all working with our work appointments and everything's all good. So what we're going to do now is use Do Not Disturb, and as you see, you get a little toggle there to let you know that it's on Do Not Disturb. I think crucial sort of notifications, like maybe if you was on a laptop and your battery was about to die, I think that would override that and you'd still get that coming through, which is all good. So then what we're going to do is go to exit, and now what I've installed is I've got GIMP here, so we're going to add GIMP to our favourites. We've already added that. We're going to add Evolution to our favourites. Okay, now what I'm going to show you before we look at everything else, I'm going to quickly open Steam as well to let it do its update. So if we go into Firefox, so during the little script that I wrote, I also made it install Chrome GNOME Shell, so we don't need to install that. All we need to do is install the GNOME Extensions browser plugin. So if we go to GNOME Extensions, as I said, not all of the extensions work just yet. Some of my favourite ones don't work at the moment, which is a bit annoying, but we can do without them until, you know, they've been updated. So we're going to go to Add, OK, Refresh. So what we're going to do is add user themes. I'm not going to change it to Arc though, and I'll show you why in a moment. So we go back. So dash to dock, as I say, doesn't work. Caffeine does. So we'll click on, install. I wonder if GS Connect works. I know the clipboard does, so we're going to grab that. On, install. So let's go to GS Connect. I'm going to hope GS Connect does work. Install. Come on, baby. No. So what we'll do is go into installed extensions, and we're just going to remove that one for now. I'm sure it will all get updated and will work, you know, either ready for when it final release or, you know, a little bit after that. So what we're going to do, right, we'll sign into that in a moment. We are going to remove this one here and just leave that like that. So now we have a clipboard and we have caffeine. I wonder if CPU Freq works. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. I think it does actually. I think I've tested this one out and it did work. Install. There we go. So CPU fretworks, you do have to allow it to have additional components. Type in your password, and again, this is the new password prompt thing as well. So there's a few more things about GNOME 3.36 that we might not have had a look at, but we'll open a web page to see any additional changes, because I can't remember everything off the top of my head. But what this will let you do is sort of go through different sort of power settings and stuff, which is quite handy to have. Right, what we're going to do is log into Steam. I will blur all of this out. I have two-step authentication, so I'll have to just quickly grab the code from my email client on my phone. Steam. Okay, that should all be good. Finish. And now Steam should open up, and as I said, we've mounted our external SSD which has our Steam library on it, so we don't have to go through and download all the games I play the most, which is very handy. People should do that as well. If you like have an external drive that's fast, it's good to keep your Steam library on that, because then you can mount it across distributions, or even just take it with you and have your game library with you no matter where you are, which is pretty cool. So we're going to add library, go to MNT, SSD, Steam library, select, and as you can see there, it's going to load up some of the games I play most often, which these days is pretty much just CSGO. Okay, I'm going to show you as well one more thing. So in extensions, as I said, this isn't quite ready yet, so all of the manually installed extensions that we've installed haven't appeared there. One more thing, so if we go into tweaks is not quite ready yet on this version of Ubuntu. As I said, it is a daily build, so this is to be expected, but none of these settings will open, which is a little bit annoying, but we can live without it. What we're going to do now is do a little restart, and then we're going to see how much RAM we are going to use, and then we're going to open up a web page and see if there's anything we've skipped about GNOME 3.36. Okay, we are back. Got a password prompt there for the keyring. Let's open up HTOP. And we'll give it a little second to get its bearings, and then we'll get a little RAM reading. So because I use Evolution with a lot of plugins for the address, calendar and appointments and stuff, it does bump it up by about 60 MB. So we're using roughly, I'd say about 900. I've got a feeling that's going to drop to about 860 though. 890. I'm going to give it 3 more seconds. Okay, so I'm getting about 890 megabytes of RAM usage. CPU utilization is exactly what it should be. Very nice indeed. Right, we're going to close that. So let's open up a web page and just sort of get some notes about GNOME 3.36 and see if there's anything we've missed. So let's just grab this web page here. They usually do a good roundup OMG Ubuntu. So we've had a look at that bit there. Ah, yes. So now there's sort of a nice sort of streamlined approach to things. So if I was to type in, say, VLC, I've got that. There you go. Let's say settings. As you can see now, it sort of separates things nicer, and you get a bit of a shade for stuff like that. It sort of categorizes it, which is quite nice. Let's go back into there and see if there's anything else. We've looked at the Do Not Disturb toggle, respective system font settings. New extensions app, we've looked at that. New lock screen. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it with the capture card. I might just take a photo of it and chuck it in there in post. New shell dialogues, we've looked at that. Password peeking, we won't worry about that. App folder changes. So we've brought the ability to create. So I think it was a bit, I think there was a problem with the animations beforehand. So let's just see if that's all nice and smooth. Yeah, and then we'll call this internet. So it has a little edit there. Let's just say call that internet, and then we'll chuck in a few things for the internet there. So let's get transmission in there. We'll also get software in there as well. Where's transmission? There you go. There you go. So that's all quite nice and smooth. Let's do one for media now. So where's, go down a bit, chuck that with videos, unnamed folder. Chuck that in there. Do the same again. We'll just call this one media. There we go. We'll also put cheese in there. I don't really keep cheese on there. I should have added that to my remove script, but we're not mind about that. Let's chuck GIMP in there as well, and we'll also put Shotwell in there. But yeah, that's all quite smooth, very nice. Is there anything else? Settings tweaks. A number of settings panels have been improved, several have been merged, and others have removed entirely. So let's jump into the settings now and just have a little look through the settings stuff. I'll have to blur that out. Network, Bluetooth, background we had a look at. I do like the appearance bit here now. I think it's nicer having the sort of settings for the dock there as well, instead of having dock there. And again, the Windows color changing there is very cool, especially for people who are not that comfortable installing tweaks and things like that. So that's very cool. Notifications, so you can control sort of individual app notifications. Search, so you can now sort of choose what it's searching for. That's pretty cool as well. Don't know if that's new, but that's still very cool. Individual application settings for notifications there as well. Search, yeah, cool. What else we got here? So that was applications, privacy, location settings. Okay, the settings program does seem a lot more sort of streamlined and cohesive. Device color profiles, date and time, about, users. Nice, I like it. Right, what I'm going to do is stop recording and I'm going to try and get a nice photo of the login screen. Okay, so that's been my sort of first look at Ubuntu 20.04, which now ships with the latest version of GNOME 3.36. Anything I've missed I will go over and sort of final release on April the 23rd. Tomorrow I will be taking a look at Fedora 32 Beta, which also ships with GNOME 3.36. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.